Hello, my friend. Welcome. Welcome to 2026. A new year, a new chance. Before we talk about change, before we talk about success, pause for a moment. Just pause. Take a slow breath. Let your shoulders relax. Let your mind slow down. You are safe here. You are not here by accident. You did not open this video randomly. Something inside you brought you here. Something inside you wants change. You are tired. Not tired of work, not tired of effort. You are tired of delay. Delay in starting. Delay in learning. Delay in becoming better. Delay in living the life you want. You told yourself many times, I will start tomorrow. I will do it later. I will change one day. But one day never came. Weeks passed. Months passed. Another year passed. And the same problems stayed. Same habits. Same excuses. Same unfinished goals. Not because you are weak, not because you are stupid, not because you lack ability, but because you kept postponing action. That habit has a name. Procrastination. Procrastination is quiet. It does not shout. It does not attack. It slowly convinces you to wait. It whispers, rest first, be ready first, feel motivated first. And waiting feels safe. Waiting feels comfortable. Waiting feels easy. But waiting costs you. Every time you delay, you lose time, you lose confidence, you lose self-respect. You don't lose everything at once. You lose it slowly. So slowly. You don't notice it happening. One delayed task, then another, until delay feels normal, until action feels heavy, until starting feels painful, until change feels impossible. Think about your goals: learning English, building a skill, improving your routine, becoming disciplined. You know what to do, you know what is right, but you don't begin. Why? Because starting feels uncomfortable. Starting creates pressure. Starting brings fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. So your mind chooses safety, scrolling, videos, chats, sleep, not because you don't care, but because you care too much. You care about the result, so you avoid the process. This is important. Procrastination is not laziness. It is emotional avoidance. You avoid the task to avoid the feeling. And every time you avoid, your brain learns something. Delay is safe. Action is dangerous. That belief becomes a habit. The habit becomes a routine. The routine becomes identity. You start saying, I am not consistent. I never finish. I always delay. But that is not truth. That is repetition, and repetition can be changed. In 2026, we do not fight procrastination with pressure. We do not fight it with shame. We fight it with action. Small action. Not perfect plans, not extreme routines. Small action. Because action breaks fear. Action builds confidence. You do not feel confident and then act. You act, and confidence follows. You do not wait to feel ready. You start, and readiness appears. This year, we stop waiting for motivation. We create motion. Motion creates momentum. Momentum creates discipline. Discipline creates freedom. Freedom from guilt, freedom from delay, freedom from regret. You do not need to change your whole life. You do not need big promises. You need one rule. Start small. Start now. 5 minutes. One task. One sentence. That is enough. Because procrastination is loud before action, but quiet after action. The hardest part is starting. So we make starting easy. 5 minutes of English. 5 minutes of reading. 5 minutes of focused work. After 5 minutes, your mind shifts. Resistance drops. Focus improves. And while you listen to this, something else is happening. You are training your English naturally, without pressure, without stress. You are listening, you are understanding, you are thinking in English. And we will improve your English, step by step, day by day. You do not need perfect grammar. You do not need big words. You need consistency. One simple sentence, every day. Now imagine your future self. At the end of this year, a version of you, who started, who stayed consistent, who did not quit. That version looks at you and says, "Thank you for starting." This year, we do not delay life, we live it. You are still listening. That already says something. You did not escape. You did not close this. Most people leave early. They feel uncomfortable. They don't like the truth, so they run back to distraction. But you stayed, and staying matters, because change only begins when you stop running. Now listen carefully. This part is important. This part explains why you delay again and again. Procrastination is not random. It follows a pattern, a very predictable pattern. Once you see it, you can break it. The pattern always starts with a feeling, not with a task. You feel tired, you feel bored, you feel uncertain, you feel pressure. And your mind reacts, not to the task, but to the feeling. Your mind asks one question: how can I feel better? Right now, not later, not tomorrow, right now. So it offers you comfort. Scrolling videos, messages, sleep. Comfort gives relief, short relief, temporary relief. And for a moment, you feel okay. But then time passes. The task is still there. The deadline is closer. The pressure is heavier. Now guilt appears. Stress appears. Self-doubt appears. And what do? You escape again. This is the cycle. Avoid the task. Feel relief. Feel guilt. Avoid again. This cycle is powerful because it rewards delay before it punishes it. Your brain remembers the reward, not the punishment. That is why procrastination repeats. Breaking this cycle requires one thing: interrupting the pattern, not thinking, not planning, interrupting. And the fastest interruption is action, not perfect action, not full action, small action. Action changes your state. Action changes your focus. Action changes your chemistry. Thinking does not. You can think for hours and still feel stuck. But 5 minutes of action can change everything. This is why waiting for motivation fails. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. It is unstable. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel empty. If you wait for motivation, your progress becomes random. Random. Effort creates random results. Disciplined people do not wait to feel ready. They start anyway. They feel resistance. They feel doubt. They feel boredom. But they move. And after they move, their feelings change. This is important. Action creates emotion. Emotion does not create action. Say it again in your mind. Action creates emotion. This is how confidence is built. Confidence is not a feeling. It is a memory of action, a memory of showing up, a memory of finishing. If you never act, you never build that memory. So you feel weak, not because you are weak, but because you lack evidence. Evidence comes from action. Now think about English. How many times did you say, "I will speak when I am ready. I will practice when my grammar improves. I will start when I feel confident." And because of that, you delayed. But fluency does not come first. Speaking comes first. You speak badly, then better, then clearer. Waiting only delays this process. The same with discipline. You do not become disciplined. Then act. You act, and discipline grows. This year, you stop asking, "How do I feel today?" You start asking, "What needs to be done?" That question changes everything. It removes emotion. It removes drama. It creates clarity. Now let us simplify this. You do not need 10 habits. You do not need complex systems. You need one rule. When it is time, you start. No discussion. No negotiation. Your mind loves negotiation. It will say, "Just 5 more minutes. Just 1 more video." And suddenly, an hour disappears. So you remove choice. You decide in advance. At this time, I act. Even if I don't feel like it, especially if I don't feel like it. Because resistance means growth. Resistance appears before every breakthrough. Now imagine this. You sit down to work, your mind feels heavy, your body feels slow. Instead of arguing, you start. 5 minutes pass. Your focus improves, your resistance drops, the task feels lighter. This is not magic, this is how the brain works. Movement resets the system. That is why walking helps. That is why writing helps. That is why speaking helps. Movement brings you back to the present moment. Now connect this to your life. When you feel stuck, do not think more. Move. Stand up. Change position. Start the task. This interrupts procrastination. Now remember this. You do not need intensity. You need consistency. Intensity burns out. Consistency builds. 10 minutes every day is better than 2 hours once a week. Your brain loves routine. Same time, same action, every day. This creates identity. You stop saying, I am trying. You start saying, I am someone who practices. Identity drives behavior. Behavior shapes life. Now let us talk about self-talk. Your inner voice matters. If you keep saying, I am lazy, I am weak, your brain accepts it and proves it true. Instead say, I am learning, I am improving, I am showing up, even if it feels fake. Repetition creates belief. Belief creates action. Action creates results. This is not motivation. This is training. Now imagine your future self, a version of you, who did not wait, who started even when it was hard, who stayed consistent, even when progress was slow. That person is not special. That person is trained. And training begins now. So today, choose one thing you keep delaying, just one. That is where you start. Not tomorrow, now. Say this quietly. I act first. I feel later. This decision changes everything. And while you practice this, your English improves too. Because you are listening, you are understanding, you are thinking in English. And we will improve your English. Naturally, slowly, consistently, no rush, no pressure. Just daily action. That is enough. You are not broken, you are untrained. And training starts here. Stay with me. We are building discipline. We are building action, one step at a time, one day at a time. This year, we move, we act, we do not wait, and that changes everything. Now we go deeper. Because understanding alone is not enough. If understanding was enough, your life would already be different. Change does not happen when you understand more. Change happens when you act differently, and action is controlled by one thing, your identity. Not your goals, not your plans, not your motivation, your identity. Identity means who you believe you are, not who you want to be, but who you act as, every day. Most people say, I want to wake up early, but they still see themselves as someone who sleeps late. They say, I want to be disciplined, but they still see themselves as someone who delays. They say, I want to speak English, but they still see themselves as someone who is bad at English. This is the real problem. You cannot act differently. If you see yourself the same way, your behavior follows. Your self-image, always. So if you want real change, you must change how you see yourself. Not tomorrow, not later. Now, most people try to change habits. They fail because they never change identity. They try to force behavior on top of an old identity. That never works. You cannot build a new life with an old self-image. So in 2026, we do something different. We stop asking, what do I want to do? And we start asking, who do I want to be? Because identity creates behavior. Let me explain this simply. A person who says, I am someone who takes action, will act, even when it is hard. A person who says, I am lazy, will delay, even when they know better. Your brain listens to the words you use, and then it obeys. So every time you say, I can't focus, your brain says, okay. Every time you say, I always procrastinate, your brain says, that is who you are. and it protects that identity. This is why change feels hard, because your brain is not fighting you. It is protecting the identity you gave it. So we change the identity. Not with lies, not with fake confidence, but with small proof. Proof changes identity. Every small action is a vote. A vote for the person you are becoming when you act, even for 5 minutes. You tell your brain, I am someone who starts when you return. After missing a day, you tell your brain, I am someone who comes back when you speak one sentence in English. You tell your brain, I am someone who practices. Identity is not built by thinking. Identity is built by repetition. That is why consistency matters, not perfection. Consistency is not never failing. Consistency is never quitting completely. If you miss one day, you return the next. That is consistency. Now think about this. Every day you procrastinate. You practice being a procrastinator. Every day you act. You practice being a doer. Practice creates identity. Identity creates destiny. Now listen carefully. You do not need a dramatic transformation. You need a quiet shift, a shift in language. Instead of saying, I will try, say, I do. Instead of saying, I want to learn English, say, I practice English daily. Instead of saying, I hope I change, say, I am changing. These are not affirmations. These are instructions. Your brain follows instructions. Now let us make this practical. Do not change everything. Change one thing. Choose one identity. For example, I am someone who starts immediately. That is it. Now every time you face resistance, ask one question. What would someone who starts immediately do? Would they scroll or would they begin? Then act. Even if it feels uncomfortable, especially if it feels uncomfortable, because discomfort is proof of growth. Now connect this to English. Do not say, I am bad at English. Say, I am a learner. Learners make mistakes. Learners practice. Learners improve. You do not wait to become fluent. You act as someone who is learning one sentence every day. That is identity practice. Now imagine your future self again, not as a dream, but as a result of daily identity choices. That version of you is not perfect, but they are consistent, they are calm, they trust themselves, because they do what they say. That is self-respect. Self-respect is built one action at a time, not by motivation, by alignment. Alignment between words and actions. When your words match your actions, confidence appears, not confidence to start, confidence from starting. This year, do not wait to feel different, act differently, and the feeling will follow. This is how identity changes, quietly, daily, without drama. Now pause, ask yourself honestly, who am I practicing being every day? The one who delays, or the one who acts? Today, you choose again, and that choice matters more than you think, because identity is built, whether you are aware of it or not. Stay with me. We are not just changing habits, we are changing who you believe you are, one action at a time, one day at a time. And while this happens, your English improves too, because you are listening, you are understanding, you are thinking in English, and we will improve your English. Naturally, consistently, not by pressure, by presence. This is training, and training always works. Now let us talk about time, because most people say, I don't have time. They say it confidently, they believe it fully, but time is not the real problem. Everyone has the same day, same 24 hours. The difference is not time. The difference is priority. Procrastination hides behind busy schedules. It hides behind responsibilities. It hides behind tiredness. But listen carefully. Busy is not the same as productive. You can be busy all day and still move nowhere. Many people are busy, but stuck. They move all day, But they don't move forward. Why? Because they react instead of decide. They let the day control them. Notifications decide their focus. Messages decide their energy. Other people decide their time. And at the end of the day, they say, I had no time. But the truth is simple. They had time. They just gave it away. Time is spent, whether you choose or not. Scrolling takes time. Overthinking takes time. Avoiding takes time. Procrastination takes time. So when you say, I don't have time, what you really mean is, this is not a priority, and that is okay. But be honest. If something matters, you make time. If it does not, you make excuses. Now think about English. You say, I don't have time to practice. But you watch videos. You scroll social media. You check messages. That time exists. It is just scattered. Procrastination scatters time. Focus collects time. So the solution is not finding more time. It is protecting time. Time protection is a skill, and skills can be trained. Start simple. Choose one block of time, not a big block. A small one, 10 minutes, just 10. Same time, every day. This is important. Same time, not random. Routine trains the brain. Random effort confuses it. When the time comes, you start. No debate, no checking mood, no waiting. Just begin. Your mind will resist. That is normal. Resistance means you are doing something right, because resistance appears before every upgrade. Now imagine this. It is time to practice. You feel tired. Your mind says, skip today. Instead of listening, you start anyway. 10 minutes pass. You don't die. Nothing bad happens. You survive. And something important happens. Your self-trust grows. You told yourself, I will start. And you did. That builds identity. That builds confidence. Not motivation. Reliability. You start trusting yourself. Because your words match your actions. That is powerful. Most people lack confidence because they don't trust themselves. They promise and break promises again and again. So confidence disappears. But every small kept promise restores it. Now connect this to procrastination. Procrastination breaks trust. Action rebuilds it. One small action, every day. That is enough. You do not need a perfect schedule. You need a protected window. 10 minutes for English, for learning, for growth. No phone, no distraction. Just presence. Presence multiplies time. 10 focused minutes are stronger than 1 distracted hour. Now listen carefully. You cannot manage time. You can only manage attention. Where attention goes, life follows. If your attention is everywhere, your progress is nowhere. So choose one task, one moment, one focus, finish it, then move on. This is how calm people work. This is how disciplined people live. Not rushed, not chaotic, focused. Now think about your future again. A future where you say, I don't have time, and nothing changes. Or a future where you say, I protect my time, and your life slowly upgrades. Not dramatically, but consistently. This year, you stop chasing time. You start respecting it. Respect creates structure. Structure creates freedom. Freedom from stress, freedom from chaos, freedom from delay. And while you practice this, your English improves. Because you give it daily space, daily attention, daily presence, and we will improve your English. Naturally, gradually, not by pressure. By protection. Protecting time. Protecting focus. Protecting growth. This is how real change happens. Quietly, daily, without noise, without rush, one protected moment at a time. Now let us talk about energy. Because without energy, nothing moves. You can have goals, plans, dreams, but without energy, they stay ideas. Most people think they are lazy, but they are not lazy. They are drained, mentally, physically, emotionally. Low energy looks like procrastination, but the cause is different. You don't delay because you don't care. You delay because you feel heavy, heavy mind, heavy body. And when energy is low, everything feels hard. Simple tasks feel big. Starting feels impossible. So your brain chooses the easiest path: rest, scrolling, avoidance, not because it is good, but because it feels light. Now listen carefully. You don't fix procrastination by forcing discipline. You fix it by managing energy. Energy is the foundation. If the foundation is weak, everything collapses. Let us start with the body. Your body is not a machine. It needs care. Most people ignore this. They sleep late. They wake up tired. They eat without awareness. They sit all day. And then they ask, why do I have no motivation? Motivation did not disappear. Energy disappeared. Sleep is not optional. Sleep is fuel. Without sleep, focus breaks, willpower drops. Emotions become unstable. So discipline becomes harder. Protect your sleep. Same time, every night, dark room, no phone. Your brain needs rest. Now food. Food is information. It tells your body how to feel. Too much sugar, too much junk creates crashes. Energy spikes, then falls. And when energy falls, procrastination rises. Eat simply, eat clean, eat enough. Your brain needs fuel. Now movement. Movement is medicine. When you don't move, stress stays stuck. Thoughts get heavy. Emotions slow down. You don't need a gym. You need motion. Walk. Stretch. Breathe. 5 minutes. Movement wakes the brain. Now the mind. Your mind is overloaded. Too much input. Too much noise. Too many opinions. Your brain never rests. So it escapes into procrastination. Silence is not laziness. Silence is recovery. 5 minutes of stillness. No phone. No music. Just breathing. This resets the system. Now connect this. When energy improves, starting becomes easier. Not effortless, but possible. And when starting becomes possible, procrastination weakens. This is important. You don't build discipline on exhaustion. You build it on stability. Stable sleep, stable food, stable movement, stable mind. This creates a base. On this base, action becomes natural. Now connect this to English. Learning needs energy. Listening needs focus. Speaking needs courage. All need energy. When you are exhausted, you avoid practice. Not because you are weak, because you are empty. Fill the tank first, then drive. 10 minutes of English with full energy is better than 30 minutes tired. Quality beats quantity, always. Now imagine your days. You sleep better, you move a little, you eat with care, you breathe, your energy improves, and suddenly, you don't delay as much, you don't fight yourself. You start more easily. That is real progress. Not forcing, aligning your body, aligning your mind, aligning your actions. This year, stop blaming yourself. Start supporting yourself. Support creates strength. Strength creates action. Action creates change. And while you build energy, your English improves because learning feels lighter, more natural, more calm. And we will improve your English slowly, consistently, not by pressure, by balance. Balance between effort and care. This is not weakness. This is intelligence. And intelligence always wins. Now let us talk about focus, because without focus, effort gets wasted. You can work all day and still feel behind. Not because you did nothing, but because your attention was everywhere. Focus is not talent. Focus is a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained. Most people believe they cannot focus. That is not true. They are just distracted. Distraction is not weakness. Distraction is conditioning. Your brain is trained to switch again and again. Notifications, messages, videos, alerts, each one pulls your attention, and every switch costs energy. So at the end of the day, you feel tired, but unfulfilled, because deep work never happened. Now listen carefully. Multitasking is a lie. Your brain cannot focus on two things deeply. It only switches fast, and switching feels busy, but produces shallow results. Focus requires one thing: presence, being fully here, with one task, not half here, half somewhere else. So we simplify: one task, one window of time, one intention. Finish it, then move on. This is how calm people work, not rushed, not chaotic, focused. Now let us train focus, not for hours, for minutes. Start with 5 minutes, just 5. No phone, no tabs, no background noise, just the task. When the mind wanders, bring it back, gently, without anger. Focus is not force. Focus is return, returning again and again. Each return is training, just like a muscle, weak at first, stronger with repetition. Now connect this to procrastination. When focus improves, tasks feel smaller, less overwhelming. Starting feels lighter, because your mind is not split. Procrastination feeds on scattered attention. Focus starves it. Now connect this to English. If you listen distracted, your brain absorbs less. If you listen present, even for 10 minutes, your brain learns more. Presence multiplies learning. So when you listen, listen fully. Do not scroll, do not multitask, just listen. Let the sound settle, let the rhythm enter. This trains your ear. This builds fluency, quietly. Now another important part: mental clutter. Too many thoughts, too many worries, too many unfinished loops. They steal focus. Your brain keeps reminding you, you haven't done this, you forgot that, you should do more. This creates noise, and noise destroys focus. So you unload the mind. Write things down. Simple list. Not perfect, just clear. What needs to be done. When it is written, the mind relaxes. Focus improves. Now let us slow down. Speed kills attention. Rushing creates mistakes. Mistakes create stress. Stress creates avoidance. Slow is not weak. Slow is controlled. Controlled effort lasts longer, so slow down. Do less, but do it fully. This is real productivity. Not doing more, but finishing more. Now imagine your days. Fewer tasks, more focus, less noise, more clarity. You start finishing. Confidence grows, because finished tasks build trust. Trust in yourself. That is powerful. Most people feel anxious, because nothing feels complete. Focus brings completion. Completion brings peace. Peace brings consistency. Consistency changes life. Now remember this: you don't need perfect focus. You need practiced focus. 5 minutes today, 5 minutes tomorrow. That is enough. Growth is quiet, but unstoppable. And while you train focus, your English improves, because focused listening builds understanding, builds clarity, builds confidence, and we will improve your English. Calmly, naturally, not by rushing, by paying attention. Attention is power, and now, you know how to use it. Now let us talk about consistency, because consistency is the real power. Not talent, not intelligence, not luck. Consistency. Most people know what to do, but they don't do it, not because they can't, but because they stop. They start strong. They feel excited. They feel motivated, and then life happens. One bad day, one missed session, one delay, and they quit. They think, I failed. So they stop completely. This is the trap. Consistency is not perfection. Consistency is return. Return after missing a day. Return after feeling tired. Return after losing momentum. That is real strength. Most people wait for the perfect streak. But perfect streaks do not exist. Progress is messy, growth is uneven, and that is normal. The problem is not falling, the problem is staying down. So in this year, we change the rule. The rule is simple. Never quit twice. If you miss one day, you come back the next. No drama, no self-hate, no excuses. Just return. This rule changes everything, because it removes pressure. Pressure creates avoidance. Ease creates repetition. Now listen carefully. Your brain learns from what you repeat. If you repeat quitting, your brain learns. Quitting is normal. If you repeat returning, your brain learns. Returning is normal. Identity is built, not from success, but from response to failure. Now let us simplify consistency. You don't need big goals. You need small rules, rules that are easy, rules that are clear, rules you can follow on bad days. For example, 10 minutes of practice every day, no matter what. 10 minutes is small, but it is powerful because small rules get repeated and repetition builds habits. Habits build identity. Identity builds life. Now think about English. You don't need long study sessions. You need daily contact, listening, speaking one sentence, reading one paragraph. That is consistency, not intensity. Intensity burns out. Consistency builds. Most people overestimate what they can do in one day and underestimate what they can do in 1 year. 10 minutes a day for 1 year changes everything. Now think about discipline. Discipline is not force. Discipline is structure. Structure removes decisions. Decisions create fatigue. Fatigue creates procrastination. So we reduce decisions. Same time, same action, every day. No thinking, just doing. This is how habits stick. Now imagine your future again, a year from now. You didn't do anything extreme, you just didn't quit. You kept returning, you kept showing up. And suddenly, you are different, calmer, more confident, more reliable, because you trust yourself. You say you will do something, and you do it. That is powerful. Most people lack confidence, not because they are weak, but because they don't trust themselves. Consistency rebuilds trust, one kept promise at a time. Now remember this, you don't need motivation, you need a system, a simple system, that works on bad days. Because bad days will come. Plan for them, expect them, and return anyway. This is maturity, this is growth, this is real discipline. And while you build consistency, your English improves, because daily exposure builds familiarity, builds confidence, builds fluency, and we will improve your English quietly, naturally, not in 1 week, but over time, and time rewards consistency always. Now let us talk about fear. Because fear is the hidden driver. Not laziness, not lack of talent, fear. Fear does not look dramatic. It looks reasonable, it sounds intelligent. It says, what if you fail? What if you waste time? What if people judge you? So you wait. Waiting feels safe. Waiting feels smart. But waiting is fear. Fear of starting, fear of being seen, fear of being wrong, fear of not being enough. Most people don't realize this. They think they are just careful. But careful is different. Careful protects, fear delays, and delay slowly kills confidence. Every time you avoid, fear gets stronger. Because fear feeds on avoidance. The more you wait, the bigger it feels. The task does not grow. Fear grows. Now listen carefully. Fear disappears. Only after action, never before. Thinking does not remove fear. Planning does not remove fear. Waiting does not remove fear. Action removes fear. Even small action. Especially small action. Because small action feels possible, and possible breaks fear. Now imagine this. You delay something for weeks. It feels heavy. It feels scary. Then one day, you finally start, and you think, that was not so bad. That is how fear lies. It exaggerates, it creates stories. And those stories paralyze action. So we do not fight fear, we move through it. 1 step, not 10. 1. Now connect this to English. Fear says, you will make mistakes. People will laugh. Your accent is bad. So you stay silent. But silence never improves fluency. Speaking does. Even broken speaking, even slow speaking, every sentence spoken shrinks fear. Every day you speak, fear loses power. This is important. Fear is not a sign to stop. Fear is a signal to grow. If something scares you, it usually matters, and things that matter are worth doing. Now listen, courage is not absence of fear. Courage is action. With fear present, you don't wait to feel brave, you act, and bravery appears. Now let us simplify this. Do not ask, how do I remove fear? Ask, what is the smallest step that I can take right now? Small step, taken today, is stronger than big plans, postponed forever. Now imagine your future again, a future where you faced fear daily, not dramatically, but consistently. One sentence, one action, one start. That version of you is calm, because fear no longer controls decisions. Fear still exists, but it no longer leads. You lead. This year, do not wait for fear to leave. It won't. Move anyway, and fear will follow, far behind. And while you practice this, your English improves, because fear shrinks and expression grows. You speak more, you listen better, you understand deeper, and we will improve your English. Naturally, through courage, not loud courage, quiet courage, daily courage. This is how confidence is built, not suddenly, but step by step, through action. Now let us talk about presence, because most stress comes from absence. Absence from this moment. Your body is here, but your mind is not. It is in the past, or in the future. Thinking about mistakes, thinking about worries, thinking about what if. This creates tension, because the mind is never resting. It keeps traveling, and that travel consumes energy. This is why you feel tired, even when you did little. Your mind did everything. Presence changes this. Presence means being here, with what you are doing, not fighting the moment, not escaping it, just being with it. This is powerful. Because when you are present, your focus improves, your stress drops, your actions become clearer. Most people procrastinate because the task feels overwhelming, but overwhelm is a future problem. The present task is always smaller. So instead of thinking, I have so much to do, ask, what is in front of me, right now? One email, one page, one sentence. Presence shrinks problems, thinking multiplies them. Now listen carefully. You don't need more control, you need more awareness. Awareness brings you back to now, and now is where action happens. You cannot act yesterday, you cannot act tomorrow, you can only act now. This is why presence is the gateway to discipline. When you are present, you stop negotiating, you stop overthinking, you just do. Now connect this to English. If you listen distracted, your brain drifts. If you listen present, even short listening creates deep learning. Presence trains the ear, it trains attention, it trains patience. All are needed for fluency. Now let us practice presence. Not for long, for moments. When you drink water, drink it fully. When you walk, feel your steps. When you listen, just listen. These small moments train the brain to stay instead of running. Running creates anxiety, staying creates calm. Calm creates clarity, clarity creates action. This chain matters. Many people think they need more motivation, but what they need is less distraction. Distraction pulls you out of the present. So reduce noise, turn off alerts, limit scrolling, create quiet. Quiet is not empty. Quiet is full, full of awareness, full of control. Now imagine your days. You do one thing at a time. You finish it, then you move on. Your mind feels lighter. Your stress drops. Your confidence grows, because presence creates completion. Completion creates peace. Peace creates consistency. Consistency changes life. Now remember this, you don't need to escape your life. You need to enter it fully. This year, come back to now, again and again and again. This is practice, not perfection. And while you practice presence, your English improves. Because you are truly listening, not just hearing. You are understanding more deeply, and we will improve your English, calmly, through attention, not by rushing, by staying, right here. Now let us talk about trust, because in the end, everything comes to trust. Not trust in others, trust in yourself. Most people struggle, not because they can't change, but because they don't believe. They will stay consistent. They tried before, they failed before, so they doubt themselves. And doubt creates hesitation. Hesitation creates delay. Delay creates regret. This is the final chain. Breaking it requires one thing: self-trust. Self-trust is not hope. Self-trust is evidence. Evidence that when you say, you will do something, you actually do it, even when it is small, even when no one sees, even when it is boring. This is how trust is built, not with promises, but with follow-through. Most people break promises, not to others, but to themselves, again and again. So their inner voice changes. It stops believing them. That voice says, why try again? You will quit anyway. This voice is not evil. It is learned from repetition. And repetition can be changed. In 2026, we change the pattern. We stop making big promises. We make small commitments. Commitments we can keep. 5 minutes, one task, one action, and we keep it day after day. This rebuilds trust, slowly, quietly, powerfully. Now listen carefully. You don't need confidence to keep a promise. You need clarity, clear rules, clear limits, clear actions. When rules are clear, there is less negotiation, less procrastination. This is how discipline feels calm, not heavy, not painful, calm. Now connect this to faith. Sometimes you work and see no result. Sometimes you try and nothing changes.
Is where most people quit because they don't trust the process. But growth often happens in silence, under the surface, like roots
Before the tree appears,
if you dig the seed every day.
to check progress, it dies, so you must trust the daily action, even when results are invisible. This trust creates patience. Patience creates endurance. Endurance creates breakthroughs. Now connect this to English. You may not feel fluent. You may not hear progress day to day, but your brain is learning. Your ear is adjusting. Your understanding is growing, silently. And one day, you realize you understand more. You speak easier. That is trust paying off. Learning always works when exposure is consistent. Now imagine yourself at the end of this year, not perfect, but proud. Proud because you didn't quit. Proud because you returned, again and again. That version of you is calm because they trust themselves. They say they will do something, and they do it. That is freedom. Freedom from doubt, freedom from self-hate, freedom from starting over, again and again. This year, make one decision. I trust myself enough to start small and stay, even when it is boring, even when it is slow, even when no one claps, because real growth does not need applause. It needs patience. It needs faith. It needs consistency. Now take a breath. Look at how far you came. You stayed until the end. That already proves something. You can stay. You can commit. You can finish. Remember this feeling, this calm strength, this quiet confidence. Carry it forward into tomorrow, into the next action, into the next choice. And keep going, one step at a time, one day at a time. And we will improve your English, together, naturally, not by rushing, by trusting the process. This is not the end. This is the beginning.